Patient stories can provide a valuable insight into the challenges faced and coping strategies employed by people living with CLL. They can provide comfort and nurture a feeling of you are not alone to those of us living with CLL and our families. However, the views expressed are those of the storyteller and do not reflect the views of CLL support. CLL support does not have any editorial control over the contents of each patient's story and will not necessarily have prior knowledge of the contents of a patient's story. They reflect the lived experiences of those who choose to share their story. They are personal to each individual and their circumstances.
Morning. I only thought I had a story until I've heard Paul's, but when I met Michael a few months back in March at a charity event up in Dublin, and he spoke to me about coming up there to speak. Straight away I said no, because obviously I'm not a very good public speaker. I've never really done it, but anyway, Michael convinced me to come up and give my story as such. So I'm 48 years old. The first signs I had that there was something up as such was around February 2010. I was getting bruising, nosebleeds, nothing major really, but went to see the GP and just had some random blood tests and whatever, and it came back that I had ITP. I'm not even going to try to pronounce what that means, but it's a low platelet count, as I suppose many of us know very well. Then around October 2019, I was away on holidays in Portugal, and for the last 2 days of the holidays I was really sick, vomiting non-stop. Came home from the holidays on the first night, got a really bad nosebleed, could not stop it, and eventually ended up in A&E. And while in A&E, then I was put on a drip and that for about 24 hours. Did on more random blood tests. Following day I was released and never even thought about results. Never even, as far as I was concerned, it was just a very bad case of food poisoning. So I think it was early COVID lockdown in 2020 then when I had a Zoom call with my hematologist, Dr. Brian Hensey. I was just expecting the usual 6-month check-in, thinking everything's fine, whatever, and Dr. Hensey just proceeded to explain that while I was in hospital in October, they had requested further blood tests, and he just said it's come back that you have leukaemia, and I was like, okay, it was just, it was pretty much out of nowhere, like I kind of shut down after that. The only word obviously I heard was leukemia. Dr. Hensey was, so casual. It was like I'd just been told I had a broken fingernail or something but carried on the Zoom call, and as soon as I shut down the Zoom call and finished, it was like, sitting in the kitchen looking at a laptop, and I was like, what was all that about? I didn't really, obviously, I didn't ask any questions that maybe I should have asked. I just kind of froze a little bit at the time. So I pretty much done what everyone does these days, and I start Googling. So I remember that the first kind of bit of information that came up when you Google CLL is normal life expectancy is 5 years, and I was like, Jesus, now I'm starting to worry. So had another number of Zoom calls over the COVID period with Dr. Hensey, and to be fair, he explained a lot of what to expect and treatments and so on, and the whole watch and wait thing, which is and still is where I am at the moment. I've been pretty lucky that I haven't needed any treatment whatsoever yet, but the COVID period for me became very frustrating because we were going through Zoom calls that were kind of became just a formality rather than really going to see your doctor or whatever in person. So I started looking for a second opinion, and that's where I came across Professor Thornton. So on my first meeting with Professor Thornton, I came away from that meeting with so much more confidence, I would say, or information of what to expect further down the line. He was able to tell me about certain treatments, and you know, what to expect if and when you might need treatment, and it was just so much nicer and easier to sit in front of someone rather than sit in front of a screen. So shortly after that, I switched under Dr. or Professor Thornton's care full time. Now, like if I was to say like how has CLL impacted on my life, I would say like now today probably very little, if at all. Like it doesn't. I've been lucky enough that it hasn't really impacted on my life at all. Like, but I would say like at first when I was diagnosed first, it was, you know, shock to me. I didn't really have an idea about how to tell my family or friends or whatever about it. Probably because I didn't understand it or really know enough about it. So I think my way of breaking into the family was I actually text my sister and told her to tell the family. And it was a case of, you know, will you tell, because Mum, like all mothers I suppose, is, you know, she would like shut down, bad worrier type of thing. But I did say to him, like, I prefer to keep it in-house, like keep it in the family. I don't really want it to get out to everybody else, you know. I don't want to broadcast amongst everyone. It was going to get out eventually, like, but, you know, that was just, I just didn't want it that way, like. So, like, I think for me, like at that time, I was very active in sport and with my soccer club and all that stuff, and it was just the diagnosis made me feel maybe a little bit lesser or weaker or something. I don't know, like. So, like, obviously, eventually when I did go out to friends and people, and they, you know, they started asking the usual questions, you know, I kind of totally dismissed it with them, just shut it down as if it was, you know, it's no big deal, you know. Basically, just didn't understand or know what way to explain it to them. And, you know, when people hear cancer or leukemia or whatever, most people kind of automatically think the worst straight away, like, you know. So, I would say even going back to the early days of my relationship with Rebecca, my fiancée now, I remember trying to break the news to her about it, and it was very, very uncomfortable as well. Like, you know, and it, you know, you're in your early stages of a relationship, and you're worried about, like, how's this girl going to react when you tell her, you know, what may be ahead. But she's obviously hung around, thank God. But Rebecca owns her own gym business, and through that she insists that I keep active a lot. So, like, probably now more than ever that I finished men's soccer and whatever, I've been more active in the gym with her. Never really get to sit around, feel sorry for myself when she's about. Like, it's like constantly get up to the gym, cop on to yourself, like, you know. And I've been like, you know, I have leukemia, you know, like, you know. But that doesn't work. Like, you know, it's, we all know, like, leukemia is not a joke, but it's how we deal with it, and it works for us, like. But it was through Rebecca's gym then over the last number of years we've competed in battle cancer. And then in March just gone, there was 44, 45, whatever, members of Rebecca's gym competed in battle cancer this year to raise funds for CLL. And if anyone has the opportunity to go up and watch, it's amazing to see what these people put their bodies through in this event to raise funds for various cancer charities. And this is how I came to meet Michael really in person, because he came up that day to support us and meet everyone. And it was through conversations with Michael and everything that day that I ended up here. So yeah, like, it's definitely something, like, you know, it's all these charities and so on. It's not easy to fundraise, you know. So it's great to see an event like Battle Cancer and that, and the money to bring in for various charities. I would say overall, I have been very lucky with my health. You know, there's some little aspects of what Paul spoke about that related back to me, like infections and nasal infections, which is just, like, I get them regular and they drive me mad, but that's probably the worst of what I've had so far, thank God, like. But you know, other than that, I'm training hard. I've even just got my first level qualification as a CrossFit coach. But my time, I know from our last couple of meetings with my doctor, my time's getting closer where sooner or later I'm going to need some sort of treatment. But, you know, Professor Thornton makes it very easy not for you not to panic, the way he talks, the way he explains everything. You know, you go into the meeting yes, Nicky, you're getting that bit closer. We're, you know, something down the line. Clinical trials are there. There's so much stuff ahead of you. You know, don't worry about everything. Like, it's great the way it makes you feel confident to carry on with your life as such, or that you don't need to worry about what may be ahead. But like overall, like with support of Rebecca, like my family, friends, the amazing work our health professionals do, and with the people like Michael and CLL Ireland, I'm fully looking forward to life, and like I hold no fear for what is ahead, except maybe getting married to that crazy one down there. But you know, we've many plans for life, and we've lots of traveling hopefully to do. You know, build on the business, you know, family. Overall, just really enjoy life and live it to whatever may be ahead, and live it to the fullest. Like, so that's my story. Thanks for listening.